Have you ever had the feeling that the world sees you differently? That something inside of you is just different? If you've ever felt like you were destined for something greater, something beyond the ordinary struggles of daily life, you are not alone. There are many of us out there who have been chosen for a higher purpose, for a path that is far from easy but immensely rewarding. But here's the truth. Being a chosen one isn't about fame, fortune, or the accolades you might think. It's about inner strength, resilience, and walking a path that very few can comprehend. There's a power in you that others don't see, and that's okay because you don't need their validation. You were sent here to shine, to rise above the shadows, and to embrace your role as a guide, a healer, and a beacon of light. You've faced obstacles that most people can't even imagine, and yet here you are, still standing, stronger than ever. But even the strongest of us sometimes need a reminder of who we really are. This journey you've embarked on, it's not just about overcoming the challenges. It's about understanding that every challenge, every setback, and every betrayal was a part of the divine design to awaken your true power. You are a divinely guided earth angel, walking among those who have yet to understand the magnitude of your energy. And the truth is, the world needs you more than you may realize. The deceptive games of the world. When I think back on the early days of my life, I see how I played by the world's rules. I chased validation from people who didn't understand me. I tried to fit in, to be like everyone else, even though something inside me knew I was different. Have you ever felt that pull to be something more, even when everyone around you doesn't understand? It's frustrating, isn't it? I can still remember the first time I truly felt the weight of manipulation. It wasn't an obvious thing. It was subtle at first. The soft lies, the gentle persuasion, the way people would try to mold me into something I wasn't. Maybe for you, it came in the form of a friend who always wanted more from you but never gave anything back, or a relationship where you were the one who carried all the emotional weight. At first, I didn't notice, but slowly, as I grew older and wiser, I started to see the pattern. The world loves to deceive, and those who can't see their own divine light are easily swayed by these illusions. People with fragile egos, those who feed off others' energy, will try to pull you into their game. They'll flatter you, promise you everything, and make you feel special, but the moment you give in, the moment you start believing their lies, you become a pawn in their game. I can remember a moment when it hit me like a lightning bolt. It was like I was suddenly awake, and I saw the world for what it truly was. A series of illusions, distractions, and manipulations designed to keep us from embracing our full potential. I realized that I had been playing by their rules for too long. I had been living in a world where my worth was dictated by how others saw me, how they used me, and how I conformed to their expectations. But I was tired of being controlled, tired of playing the game. You might have felt that way too. You might have been stuck in a toxic cycle, wondering why things never seem to go your way. But here's the thing, the moment you wake up, the moment you see through their games, everything changes. The rules are no longer the same. You realize that the game they are playing isn't yours to win. It's their game, not yours. You are not their puppet breaking free. There was a point when I made a decision that changed everything. I stopped being their puppet. It wasn't easy, and it didn't happen overnight. In fact, it took a lot of pain and a lot of reflection. But the day I truly broke free was the day I stopped giving my energy to people who didn't deserve it. You might think that breaking free is just about saying no to people, but it's not. It's much deeper than that. It's about reclaiming your power. It's about realizing that you don't need anyone's permission to be yourself. For the longest time, I sought approval. I tried to please people. I thought that if I just did things their way, I would find happiness. But it never came. Happiness was always just out of reach. What I didn't understand back then was that I was never meant to fit into their mold. I was meant to break free. And when I finally did, I felt an overwhelming sense of liberation, like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. The chains I had been carrying for so long were gone. I could finally breathe. If you're still trapped in their game, I want you to know that you don't have to be. You don't have to let anyone dictate your worth or your path. You are not their puppet. The moment you recognize your own divine power, The moment you realize that you don't need anyone's approval to thrive is the moment you take back control of your life. You might feel scared at first. It's natural to feel afraid when you step away from what's familiar. But I promise you this, you are stronger than you think. And the moment you start playing their game is the moment you start winning your own. There's something beautiful about breaking free, about realizing that your worth is not defined by anyone else. You are not meant to conform. You are not meant to live in the shadows of others. You were born to stand out, to shine, to rise above. It's time to stop playing by their rules. It's time to step into your true power. The game is theirs, but the victory, that's yours. The hidden power you carry. There are moments in life when you're forced to look inside yourself, deep into the core of who you are, and ask, what is it that makes me different? I've asked myself that question countless times. Growing up, I didn't always feel like I had a special purpose. I thought I was just like everyone else, trying to make my way in a world that often felt cold and indifferent. But then something started to shift. It was subtle at first, like a faint whisper calling me from within. One of the hardest parts of being a chosen one is that others can't always see the power you carry. They see you, but they don't see you. They see someone who's going through the motions, trying to make a life for themselves. But beneath the surface, there is something much more profound at work, a force so strong it can change the course of your life and the lives of those around you. I can remember the first time I felt this hidden power within me. It was during a time of great struggle when everything seemed to be falling apart. The people I had trusted most were betraying me, and I felt utterly lost. But in that moment of desperation, I felt an energy, a quiet, unwavering strength that whispered to me, "You are more than this. You are not the victim. You are the force that changes the game." And that's when it hit me, we, the chosen ones, carry a power that is beyond comprehension. It's not something you can see, touch, or explain easily. It's a divine energy that flows through us, guiding us, protecting us, and pushing us toward our highest purpose. But this power is not obvious. It doesn't shout for attention. It doesn't demand acknowledgement from others. It simply is. It is the quiet confidence that lets you walk through storms without being shaken. It's the inner strength that holds you steady when everyone around you is falling apart. The more I embraced this hidden power, the more I saw its effects on my life. I started to attract the right people, the right opportunities, and the right experiences. But it wasn't about seeking them out. It was about aligning with my true self, with the force that had always been within me. When you are in alignment with your higher power, things begin to fall into place. But it's not always easy to trust that the universe will provide, especially when you've been through so much hardship. It takes time to trust that the power within you is real and that it will guide you exactly where you need to go. You might be questioning whether this power is real for you too. Maybe you're unsure about your purpose, or you've had moments of doubt. But I want you to know that the power is always there, even when you don't see it, even when you don't feel it. It's not about waiting for the world to recognize your power. It's about recognizing it for yourself. When you understand the strength you carry, you become unstoppable. You are not just a person walking through life. You are a force of nature, destined to leave an impact that no one can ignore. The return of those who wronged you. Life has a way of making things come full circle, and I've learned that the universe has its own timing when it comes to karma. There were moments in my life when I felt completely betrayed, abandoned by people I trusted. They used me, took advantage of my kindness, and manipulated my emotions for their own gain. At the time, I was angry. I felt hurt. I wanted revenge. But the deeper I went into my own healing, the more I realized something profound. The universe was already working its magic, and those who wronged me would eventually have to face the consequences of their actions. You've probably experienced this too. Those who used you, who hurt you, who tried to break you down, they will return. Maybe not in the way you expect, but they will come back, whether in your thoughts, in your dreams, or even physically wanting to reconnect. They'll come back with apologies, with regret, and sometimes with tears in their eyes. They'll act like nothing ever happened, as though the hurt they caused was a distant memory. And when they do, it's up to you to decide. Will you fall back into their game, or will you stand your ground and move forward? I can remember the first time one of those people came back into my life. They had been toxic, manipulative, and emotionally draining. I had spent so many sleepless nights wondering what went wrong, why I wasn't enough, and why they treated me like I was disposable. But when they returned, I had changed. I had evolved. I no longer needed their validation. I no longer needed their approval. I had learned to stand on my own 2 feet. And the power I had discovered within myself made me realize that their apology, their regret, it meant nothing to me. This is the moment you need to understand. When those who wronged you return, it's not about them, it's about you. They might come back with remorse, wanting forgiveness, but they are not the same person you once knew. They are a reflection of your past, a past that no longer defines you. You've grown, you've learned, you've become something far greater than they ever realized. And when they come back, it's not to pull you back into their toxic world, it's a test of how far you've come. Will you allow them to pull you back into their web of manipulation, or will you choose to move forward, knowing that your path lies ahead and that those who caused you harm are no longer part of your journey? The choice is yours, and the truth is, when you embrace your higher power, when you recognize your worth, you'll see these returnees for what they truly are, part of the past that has no place in your future. The role of the universe in your path. I used to think that everything in my life was random, that the struggles, the heartbreaks, the hardships, they were just things that happened. I didn't understand why I had to go through the things I went through. But as time went on, I started to realize something truly profound. Everything in my life happened for a reason. Every trial, every painful experience, every obstacle was part of a bigger plan. A plan that the universe had set in motion long before I even understood it. The universe doesn't work in ways we can always comprehend. Sometimes, things happen that shake us to our core. We lose people we love, we lose opportunities, we face rejection and disappointment. But when you step back and look at the bigger picture, you begin to see how each of these experiences served a purpose. They were not meant to break you, they were meant to build you. I remember a time when I felt utterly lost. It seemed like every decision I made was leading me down a dead end. Nothing was working. I wanted to give up, to walk away from everything. But in that moment, I realized something. I wasn't walking alone. The universe had been guiding me all along. And even though I couldn't see it in that moment, every setback had been a stepping stone towards something greater. The universe is always working in the background of our lives, orchestrating events that lead us to our true purpose. It brings people into our lives, removes them, pushes us to grow, and sometimes it brings us to our knees so that we can rise even stronger. But it's all part of the divine plan. And this is where we often forget. When we're struggling, when we're in the middle of a storm, we think it's a sign of failure. But in reality, it's just the universe preparing us for the breakthrough that's coming. Every challenge is shaping us into the person we're meant to be. Every rejection is pushing us closer to the right opportunity. Every loss is making room for something better to come into our lives. When you learn to trust the process, when you accept that the universe has a plan for you, that's when you begin to see the magic unfold. You are not here by accident. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are part of a greater design, and the universe is guiding you, step by step, toward your highest purpose. The universe knows what you need before you even do. Trust it. Trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should, embracing the power of your awakening. There's something truly magical that happens when you finally embrace the power of your awakening. It's like a switch flips inside you, and suddenly everything begins to make sense. The struggles, the pain, the moments of doubt, they all fall into place like puzzle pieces, revealing the bigger picture. But the process of awakening is not always smooth. It's often filled with moments of discomfort, uncertainty, and even fear. I remember when I first started waking up to my true power. I was terrified. It was as if I was shedding an old skin, one that had been keeping me small, keeping me comfortable. I'd spent so much of my life trying to fit in, trying to be what others expected me to be, but the truth is, I was never meant to conform. I was meant to break the mold, to go beyond the limitations that society had set for me. When I first started waking up to my own power, I felt a deep resistance inside of me. It wasn't just external forces that tried to keep me small, it was my own fear, my own doubts. But the more I leaned into that awakening, the more I understood that fear was simply a part of the process. It was a sign that I was stepping into something greater, something beyond my comfort zone. Awakening is not about running away from fear. It's about standing in the face of it and saying, I am bigger than you. I will rise above you. And as I embraced my power, I began to notice a shift in the way I moved through the world. The more I trusted my intuition, the more I followed my inner guidance, the more my life began to align with my true purpose. It wasn't just about the external changes, it was the internal transformation that mattered most. I began to feel a deep connection to the universe, to the divine energy that flows through everything. I realized that I wasn't alone. I had the entire universe backing me up, supporting me, guiding me toward my highest good. And in those moments, when I truly embraced the power of my awakening, I felt unstoppable. This awakening is not just about understanding who you are, it's about stepping into your true potential. The world around you will begin to reflect the changes within you. People will see the confidence, the strength, and the wisdom that you've gained. They won't be able to ignore the light you now radiate. And when you start embracing the power of your awakening, you'll realize that the universe was always waiting for you to claim your place. It's your time to rise. The final transformation, rising beyond the past. I often think about the person I used to be, the one who struggled, the one who doubted their worth, the one who believed the lies that others told them. That person feels so distant now, almost like a stranger. And that's when I realized that the final transformation is not about becoming someone new. It's about stepping fully into who you were always meant to be. It's about shedding the layers of fear, doubt, and pain that held you back and embracing your true essence. There are moments when you'll look back at your past, at the people who hurt you, at the situations that broke you, and you'll feel a sense of gratitude. It's strange, isn't it? Gratitude for the pain, gratitude for the struggles, because those very things shaped you into the person you are today. I used to think that the hardships I faced were signs of failure, that I was somehow being punished. But now I understand they were part of my transformation. Every hardship, every betrayal, every heartbreak, it was all necessary for my growth. The final transformation is about rising above those experiences. It's about recognizing that they no longer define you. Your past is a part of your story, but it is not your future. I used to hold on to the past, replaying the mistakes, the regrets, the things I wished I had done differently, but in doing so, I was keeping myself stuck. It wasn't until I let go of those old stories that I truly stepped into my power. The past had no place in my present, and it certainly had no place in my future. You will experience this same transformation. There will come a time when you look back and you will see the pain, the challenges, and the people who hurt you for what they truly were: lessons, stepping stones, opportunities for growth. And once you make peace with the past, you will be free to rise. You will be free to move forward with confidence, knowing that your future is bright, that your potential is limitless. The final transformation is not about changing who you are. It's about recognizing the power that has always been within you and choosing to live in alignment with that power. When you rise beyond the past, you become unstoppable. You become a force to be reckoned with. And from that moment on, nothing and no one will ever hold you back again. Embrace your power, share your story. As I look back on this journey, I realize that the most powerful thing you can do once you've awakened to your true potential is to share your story. The world needs to hear your truth. Your journey, your struggles, your triumphs, they are not just for you. They are meant to inspire others, to awaken the dormant power in those who are still asleep. When I first started on this path, I felt like my story was too small, too insignificant to make a difference. But I was wrong. Your story is your power. It is the key to unlocking not only your own growth, but also the growth of those around you. Every person who hears your story and connects with your message will begin their own awakening. And that ripple effect is what changes the world. So share your story. Don't hold back. The world needs to hear about your struggles, your lessons, your growth. You are not here by accident. You are here to inspire, to uplift, and to lead others toward their own awakening. When you embrace your power and share your story, you become part of a greater movement, a movement of individuals who are rising together, who are stepping into their true potential, and who are making the world a better place. Your power is limitless, your potential is infinite, and your story is just beginning. Embrace your journey, share it with the world, and watch as your light inspires others to awaken to their own greatness.